date is August 25th, 2025, and the world you see on your screens is a carefully crafted illusion. The real war is not being fought with armies, but against thrones of demonic power that have seized control of entire nations. We are talking about this today because the enemy's greatest weapon is secrecy. He operates in the shadows, making pacts in the back rooms of palaces and presidential mansions. But God is calling his people to be watchmen, to expose the works of darkness. This is not a political analysis. This is spiritual intelligence, a battle briefing for the army of God. The spirits of tyranny, witchcraft, and idolatry that have consumed these governments are not content to stay within their borders. They are actively seeking to infiltrate your nation, your community, and even your home through media and ideology. To remain ignorant is to remain vulnerable. Today we will identify the enemy. We will name the top 5 governments that have become puppets for Satan himself. You will hear shocking truths about occult rituals used to gain power, state-sponsored witch hunts, and the systematic slaughter of our Christian family. Prepare your hearts. What you are about to hear will disturb you, but it is necessary. We are not here to spread fear, but to arm you with the truth. For it is only when we see the enemy clearly that we can aim our prayers with devastating power and stand victorious in the authority of Jesus Christ. Number 5, Saudi Arabia. The 5th government on our list is the nation of Saudi Arabia. It is ruled by the House of Saud under the authority of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. As of this year 2025, this kingdom, so rich in oil, enforces a strict form of Islam known as Wahhabism. This is a spirit of legalism and control, a system that demons use to oppress the people. Christians who convert from Islam must do so in the deepest secret, because they face the penalty of death for leaving their former religion. This is not just a law on the books. It is a reality that our brothers and sisters live with every day. The very heart of this nation's spiritual identity is Mecca. Every year, millions of people make a pilgrimage there to circle the Kaaba. This is the center of a spiritual force that holds more than 1 billion people in bondage. We must pray against this stronghold of deception. In January of 2025, the organization Open Doors ranked this nation as the 13th worst for persecution. But the violence has only increased, along with the number of arrests of believers. The spiritual pressure is getting more intense. The government has a special police unit that was created in 2009 specifically to fight witchcraft. This unit arrests and executes dozens of people who are accused of sorcery every single year. This is a perfect example of demonic irony. Satan is the great accuser of the brethren, and here we see a government operating in that same spirit. They hunt down supposed witches while the rulers themselves are serving Satan through their idolatry of power and wealth and their rejection of the Son of God. In the year 2024, a woman was publicly beheaded because of alleged black magic. Her head was then displayed for all to see as a gruesome warning. This is a twisted reflection of Leviticus 20:27, but it is used by the state to control the population through absolute fear. The Prince's Grand Vision 2030 project is a mask to hide the evil that is going on. It is a satanic counterfeit of true prosperity. It offers worldly glamour, futuristic cities like Neom, built on blood money, and all kinds of entertainment, but it crushes the human spirit, while the possession of a Bible is completely banned. What about their connections to the occult? It is a poorly kept secret that members of the royal family consult with astrologers to make important decisions. This is a practice that is strictly forbidden by God in Deuteronomy 18:10. They are seeking guidance from the stars instead of the creator of the stars. In February of 2025, a Christian migrant worker from the Philippines received lashes as a punishment simply for praying in his own apartment. The demons are in a rage in this place because Saudi Arabia uses its immense oil wealth to fund the global spread of jihad, spreading its darkness all across the world. But God is still moving there. Do not believe the lie that this nation is a lost cause. Underground churches are growing in spite of the constant raids and the threat of death. In 2024, reports began to surface of Muslims in remote desert villages having powerful visions of Jesus. He is appearing to them because they cannot get a Bible. Christians, you must pray for a breakthrough in this nation. Pray for the salvation of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Pray for the hearts of the royal family to be turned to God. Pray for the protection of every secret believer. Pray that the truth of Jesus Christ will penetrate the culture of materialism. This government openly mocks God, but Isaiah 14:27 tells us that no one can annul the purpose of the Lord. You must stand with your persecuted brothers and sisters. Your intercession has the power to break their chains. Number 4. Nigeria. The fourth most demonic government is Nigeria, which has been under President Bola Tinubu since 2023. This giant of Africa, a nation with one of the largest Christian populations in the world, has become a demonic hotspot in the year 2025. It is a nation at war with itself, both physically and spiritually. Open Doors ranks Nigeria as the 6th worst country for persecution. In 2024 alone, more than 4,000 Christians were killed for their faith. Let that number sink in. That is more than 10 believers martyred every single day. Terrorist groups like Boko Haram and Fulani militants slaughter believers with impunity. These are not random acts of violence. This is a systematic demonic strategy to wipe out Christianity from the northern part of the country, and the government's inaction shows its complicity. They offer empty words and hollow promises while the massacres continue. This is the spirit of Ahab and Jezebel at work. Witchcraft is a practice that runs deep in this nation. It is a dark river that flows just beneath the surface of society. In October of 2024, the BBC reported on a widespread fear of witches. This has led to so-called witch hunters, who execute accused people, especially in the northern regions. The enemy has sown seeds of superstition and fear that are now bearing deadly fruit. Politicians are known to consult with juju priests to gain power and to win elections. They are making pacts with demonic entities. They blend Islam and traditional animism together to create a satanic brew, all while claiming to be men of faith. In the state of Adamawa, the year 2025 has seen a sharp increase in these witch hunts. 15 people were killed in January alone, based on nothing more than accusations. Government officials simply ignore it. Some of them have even been accused of making their own demonic pacts to secure their positions. In 2024, a senator had to face claims that he used magical charms to win his election. This is rebellion against God, and it is just like the sin of witchcraft that is mentioned in 1 Samuel 15:23. Churches are being burned on a weekly basis in the middle belt of the country. This is the dividing line between the Muslim north and the Christian south, and it has become a killing field. On Christmas of 2023, more than 140 people died in coordinated attacks in Plateau State. This terrible pattern has continued right into 2025. Demons are fueling these tribal and religious wars in an attempt to destroy the gospel. The spirit of division is tearing this nation apart, and yet hope is rising from the ashes. The Nigerian church is one of the most prayerful and resilient in the world. They are on the front lines of this spiritual war. Nigerian Christians are fasting and praying, and they are seeing miracles happen in the midst of the fire. In 2024, a revival in the city of Lagos drew thousands of people. Believers who are over the age of 35, you have faced your own trials. You understand spiritual warfare. You must pray for the deliverance of Nigeria. Pray that the government officials who are complicit with this evil will be exposed and removed. Pray for the breaking of ancestral curses and the demonic pacts made over the land. God has the power to turn mourning into dancing, as it says in Psalm 30:11. You must expose this darkness. Your voice matters in the courts of heaven. Your prayers can send reinforcements to your brothers and sisters on the front lines. Number 3. Iran. The third government we must look at is Iran. It has been led by the supreme leader Ali Khamenei since 1989. In this year, 2025, this theocracy is demonic to its very core. It is ruled by a spirit of religion, a counterfeit of true devotion that persecutes those who find a real, living relationship with Jesus Christ. It is ranked 9th by Open Doors. The government jails Christians for the supposed crime of threatening national security. Think about that. The simple act of a few believers gathering in a living room to read the Bible and pray is considered a threat to the state. This shows how fearful the enemy is of the true gospel. House churches are raided every week. In January of 2025, 12 believers were arrested in the capital city of Tehran just for holding Bible studies. The government promotes its own brand of Shia Islam, but there are whispers of occult practices within the highest levels of leadership. It is said that Khamenei consults with mystics who are connected to ancient Persian sorcery. This is the same spiritual darkness that the prophet Daniel had to fight against. The Bible tells us in the book of Daniel about the spiritual prince of Persia that withstood God's angel. That same demonic principality is still at work in that region, resisting the purposes of God. The current regime is a modern manifestation of that ancient spiritual opposition. In 2024, the protests that began after the death of a young woman named Mahsa Amini in 2022 are still simmering. The regime continues to use brutal force against its own people, especially the youth who are crying out for freedom. Demons of control are ruling this nation with an iron fist. What about allegations of witchcraft? In 2023, government officials accused the protesters of performing satanic rituals. This was their twisted justification for the violent crackdowns and executions. They project their own darkness onto those who oppose them. But the real evil is the state-sponsored terror. Iran funds terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. It openly declares its hatred for the nation of Israel, which is part of Satan's end-times plan that we read about in Revelation chapter 12. In April of 2024, their drone attacks against Israel showed a demonic rage. Despite all of this, an amazing thing is happening. The house church movement in Iran is the fastest growing in the entire world. Christians are converting thousands of people every year, even though they face the constant threat of prison, torture, and death. It is a modern-day Book of Acts, happening under extreme pressure. In 2025, a pastor was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the crime of evangelism, but God protects his own. Miraculous stories are coming out of the country. Visions of Christ are flooding the prisons of Iran, with reports of both prisoners and guards coming to faith. Pray, saints. Pray for this nation. Daniel 7:25 speaks of the beast who will wear out the saints of the Most High, but it also says that God will deliver them. Your prayers are what fuel the revival that is shaking that nation from the inside out. Pray for the heart of the supreme leader to be changed. Pray for the prison guards, that they would be touched by the faith of the believers they are guarding. Pray that the youth of Iran, in their search for freedom, will find true freedom in Jesus Christ. Number 2. China. The second most demonic government in the world is China, which has been under President Xi Jinping since 2013. In 2025, this communist giant stands as one of Satan's primary strongholds on the earth. The spirit of Antichrist is fully manifest in its ideology. It is an explicit replacement of God with the state, and the worship of God with the worship of the leader. Open Doors ranks it as 19th in the world for persecution, but this number is deceiving. The persecution is sophisticated and widespread, and it is getting worse every day. Xi demands a process called sinicization, which is a demonic plan to force churches to worship the state instead of God. They are rewriting the Bible to make it compatible with communist ideology. They are forcing churches to take down pictures of Jesus and put up pictures of President Xi. This is a direct attempt by Satan to corrupt the bride of Christ from within. Underground believers are now facing constant AI surveillance. This is a demonic Big Brother system that uses facial recognition, social credit scores, and online monitoring to control the population. It is the enemy's attempt to replicate God's omniscience, to create a system where there is no privacy and no freedom. It is a terrifying precursor to the Mark of the Beast system. In 2024, more than 10,000 churches were either closed down completely or forcibly altered to fit the government's ideology. What are the demonic connections? The state religion is atheism, which is a denial of God, as it says in Psalm 14:1. The fool says in his heart, "There is no God." But this is just a smokescreen. The leaders themselves are